Hello and welcome to Building Symfony Application series. In the last episode, we started installing PHP Spec and learning how to use a few commands which generate our specifications and classes those specifications tests. And we also changed the templates which generate the code. So in this episode, we'll continue with testing our UUID Value Object, and we'll learn how to about a few our great libraries which you might really find useful for your project. So let's start. So let's write another test for our class with UUID object. So function, and what we want to test is what it returns the value we provide for it. So it will be it returns its value as a string, because actually what I want to get back is just a string, like providing UUID as a string and getting it back. So first what I want to do is construct it using a value. So let's do this be constructed with which and when you provide the arguments for a constructor, what I want to do to construct it with is just UUID value, and now what it is constructed, I make matches against that object. So you kind of test what it should or should not be something, and in this case I want to check what it returns some value. All of those are exactly the same, so just use the one which sounds good for you in that context. And yeah, great thing about using PHP spec, what this is, this variable means your object you are testing, so not really UUID spec object, but a real UUID object. So you can use just as normally as you would, like when writing normal code. Okay, so now we have our object constructed, and what we want to do next is what it returns a value. So we can use a method like get value. It's your choice. I use it to use this one, but started to find what the name could be better for this, and think that being more clear on what is going to happen is a bit better. So in this case, I think to string just defines clearly what will happen, because with get value you are not really sure what is the type of that value, what you will be getting. Will you be getting an object, an integer, a string? So you never really sure what you will be getting back. Using method like toString, to array, to int, kinda you can see right away what actually you will receive without having to check the docs or anything else. So you get no surprises, and you are more confident what your code works as it should be. So, and when we make a match against that object, so it should, oh come on, I want auto suggestions. Why can't I get auto suggestions? Okay, I'll Google that. Should return, and what we want to return is the UUID value. So let's save it. Just an unrelated tip is if you are using ScreenFlow for recording and you have more than one file open in it, you will have a really bad time because you will end up including these smaller recordings in the wrong file. So just have one file open for your own sanity. Good thing is you can always find a solution for everything. So yeah, just take care of it. Now if we run our PHP Spark tests, it should ask us to generate the constructor and two string methods. Let's try it. So yeah, it asks if you want to create a constructor, and it creates it. As you can see, our initialization, it has UUID type test is already failing because in it we don't provide anything to constructor, and the string method is not found, so it asks to create it. Let's create it, and it fails because it just returns null. Actually, PHP Spark has flag like to return fake value, so it just returns that fake value you provide. So if you want, you can run it with fake flag to get more get a different implementation of your method. So our tests are failing. That's bad. So I did a quick search on Google for auto completing methods in our specs, and unfortunately there is not a lot of help for that, because there is a plugin which is broken, at least with newer versions of PHP Storm. One useful answer by Jacob is what you could add a mixin annotation, so you would get at least some auto-completion. Fortunately for my taste, it's not that much, but it still helps. So if you add a mixin here, so our UUID class, another good reason why having a use statement for them is it's useful. And now if I do this, you can see I have the same methods for the specification, like be constructed, throw, and so on. But I also have methods from the class, which is right now generated. What I would love, it also would autocomplete what I could do with it. So it still kind of sucks, but it's still better than nothing, and just appreciate a really good answer. And yeah, would love it work with processes itself. Well, you can have everything, I guess. Okay, we don't need this, and let's continue building our tests and our object. which as far as we remember is failing right now. So now our tests are all being run, and you get a list of like all the failed, broken, passing tests. On development environment, I personally like to, like, if something breaks the test suite, just simply stop and go step by step over the failing tests, fixing them. So it's your personal preference if you like to know all the broken steps, or if you like them, or if you like it as suit to stop as soon as it is failing. So on like CI server, it's better choices to have all of the tests going, so you can see all of the tests what break. But on development environment, it's just easier to stop it, in my opinion. So you can actually get do it through CLI, and if you can see, we have stop on failure. So this is possible to just do stop on failure. Okay, stop on failure, and now as soon as it errors, the test suite just finishes going. It can be a bit bothersome to constantly add this, especially as it doesn't have a shorthand, so you can forget that, and it just, in my opinion, requires too much work. So you can actually use the configuration to set it, and let's see, it should be in options, and as you can see, you can just add stop on failure to just simply stop as soon as it runs into an. So for this to work, we need to create a PHP spec yum file which contains configurations, and let's just create that file, file PHP spec yum, and simply add stop on failure true. So you can see, you can also disable code generation if you don't like it. So now if we run test suite again, it should just stop on first failure without requiring the CLI flag for it. And if you don't want to have this on your project and want to make it with global, you could actually just move this, just move it to your home directory, that file. So then it will simply, all those options will be global. And let's see, yes, here it is. It mentions that you can just set the config variable globally if you put your .php spec yum file in your home directory. So let's just move our configuration file, and php spec to home php spec yum, and make sure we don't have this file, and run our test again, and as you can see, it still fails on first test. So let's start fixing our tests, and the problem right now, this one is failing as let's see. As you can see, our constructor requires an argument, but we just don't provide it. So we can fix that by moving our constructor call to the let function, which works as for setting up the system before running each test, and you can see some examples right here. So we can just put the constructor argument in our let function. So function, what the hell, function let. We don't need to mock anything right now, and move this right here. And if we run our tests, the first one should now pass. Yeah, that is passing. And okay, I maybe would like to change how our tests are being outputted with using a different formatter. As you can see, so you can see the available formatters we have, and the progress is the default one, and I kind of would like pretty formatter right here. So format, you go pretty. I kind of like this output actually. So, and as you can see, default one is this one. So it's also personal preference. So choose the one you like, and this can also be changed in configuration. So you don't need to use the CLI flag, and we have formatters section with all the available formatters. So let's just create formatter and file PHP spec YAML. Formatter name pretty. And now if we just run it, it's using a different formatter. Okay, let's fix our test. So we don't need this one, and let's close what we don't need. And right now, so first, our constructor isn't correct. We want a string and UUID. Let's see. PHP Storm should help us with initializing things. UUID. This looks fine, and we want to return string, and we just do return with UUID. So this should fix our tests. So we went from red to green, and the next step would be to refactor before going on with the next test, and let's see, right here everything actually looks fine, and there is nothing to refactor in here. So let's check our test, and as you can see, we have some duplication, as both of those values are the same. So we can refactor and in this case move them to constant. So we can just do a refactoring, go with a constant, name this as let's say UUID, and let's do this. So right now we just extracted our value, and we can save this, and we run the test again to make sure we still pass, and it looks like we are good. Let's go back to our tests, and it doesn't look like it would be possible to refactor anything else, so we could just continue with adding more tests. However, personally, I found that having these constants in each test file gets a bit like bothersome after some time, as UUID would be used quite often, and you just start repeating yourself, copy pasting this constant. So what I like to do is create a new class which contains all the test values, and put them inside a class. So you could just go create a new class in spec folder, PHP class, name it as test values. Okay, we are missing a namespace. Let's just do spec. Let's just do actually spec should be fine. So yeah, create test values class, spec final class, put the constant in there, and what we can do right now is remove this one, and do test values, and now we can have this here, and we can do the same with this. So now all the test values are inside the same class, and you can just, if you need to change, it's only one place where you change it, and I found it pretty nice work with testing values. Make sure tests are still passing, and okay, it's not working. Looks like the class is not okay. We could just do a composer dump auto load. I don't think that this will actually work. Yes, so but it should be fixed if we change our composer file, and on the spec we will change how classes are loaded on PSR4. So if we do spec and use our folder which is also like it is spec with should fix things. I think let's try again. Yep, now it's working. So okay, yeah, cool. So it fixes. Okay, awesome. So let's go for the next test, and let's say we provide an invalid value to our constructor. So you could add a test to make sure what value, for example, is a string, but as we are using PHP 7, it would fail our way as we are type hinting against a string, so I don't think that test would add much value, and in my opinion I would defer it until it really becomes a problem. For example, for some reason someone really messed things up and just passed like an integer and things broke, so at that point I would just add the test. Until then it's probably not that valuable and should be fine with just skip. So our next test will assume that we are passing a string, but it will be an invalid string. So it throws an exception if value is an invalid UUID string. So we can to test for exceptions, you could go with this and when should throw. Right now let's skip this one as I don't have an exception class I want, and it will happen during instantiation, or you can define a method. So let's do it first with during method. So during, provide the method construct, and then provide the arguments for it. So right now we don't have it either, so let's just skip it too. And this is our next test. So let's add invalid UUID, const invalid UUID, just a simple string. Now we can fill this one, test value is invalid, and now we need our exception class. Okay, let's just create our exception class. So we could just go with application source, and let's just do it inside domain PHP class. Then okay, first I want a new directory, so source domain directory exception, and let's create a new PHP class. Assertion failed, it should be fine. We will get rid of this, and we will extend an invalid argument exception, which I would like the main one. So let's see, and let's put it here, session failed class, and let's run the tests. And yeah, so the test failed as it expected an exception, and we didn't get it. You know what? Let's cut this episode right here, and in the next episode we will add a library which we will be using for testing what our values are correct, and we will continue adding a few more tests to make sure what our class does what it should do. And see you in the next episode. Like my video, subscribe to the channel.